Welcome to Dark Sorcery. I'm Alfredo Martinez, and I have with me, once again, it's been a long time, Darknyss Herself, formerly known as Melissa Raquel Castillo, um, a member of the Dark Sorcery team. So it's been a long time on the channel. What have you been up to?
Oh, just a lot of work. I've had, as you and the Dark Sorcery team knows, I did have a huge life change here back in February.
Hmm.
It's not something I'm going to discuss,
Right.
but it's just been a one day at a time for me thing ever since. Aside from that, I did publish my book last year. I am working on
Okay.
another one, so I might actually look on adding to the one that I wrote last
Okay.
year, the year before. Other than that, it's just been a lot of work and, just mundane life that just gets there.
Yeah, I understand. And in fact, those who are watching, I'll put a link in the video description so you can check out her book. I encourage you to do that. Um, but yeah, so let's go ahead and chat a little bit, have a magical chat. So about the upbringing affecting one's practice. I mean, I know that we're both Latinos, and uh, that can kind of have a little bit of a twist to one's practice. So, um, how would you say your upbringing has affected your magical practice?
It took me down a lot of different roads.
Mm,
Um, because my father was from Cuba, there was a lot of Santeria and Palo in that. Just from being there, it's a country that is influenced heavily upon it.
yeah.
And when I was younger, yes, I did get into Santeria. I did get into Palo. I got through some of the initiations, not all of them. It wasn't a path that was for me. My father, he didn't practice Santeria or he didn't practice Palo. He kind of got more into like the witchcraft. Um, from like Salem, Massachusetts. It was kind of a thing that he liked. So I read those books too. I kind of learned Wicca, which is what mainly what that is.
Right.
Um, and yeah, it like I said, you pick up a lot along the way, but that again was something that didn't really resonate with me, but it didn't hurt to learn.
Yeah.
What did resonate with me were two things was one, Santa Muerte, because she's always been there with me, and working with goetic demons.
Okay.
Those were the two biggest things. And those were things that I picked up along the way on my own. I just learned it. I just incorporated it into other things that I learned. And
Mm,
it's worked out great for me. Those are my two big go-tos right there.
mhm. Yeah. As far as my upbringing on effectiveness on my practice, like I said, my family, we're Mexican, but you know, 3, 4 generations ago, that magical practice was kind of wiped out because my family had converted to Christianity, and so I when I left the church, I ended up learning, more witchcraft and Mesopotamian magic mostly. But I've read a little bit of everything. But I do believe that your ancestry does carry on in your blood and does affect your magical practice in one way or another, whether you realize it or not. I mean, would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would agree to that. It is going to affect it one way or another. And like I said, you pick up little things over time, because you're always curious about a different path, and you're like, oh well, hey, what can this teach me that something else can't?
Hmm.
But in the end, it's you're just gaining the knowledge, and in the long run, you're going to incorporate it, and you're going to make things your own, and it's what resonates with you, and it's what makes your magical practice your own. You're always going to
Hmm.
have a base because everything is just a base. Wicca is just a base. Satanism or Luciferianism, goetic practice, it's a base. It's all a base for building yourself up. Yes, it's going to have rules. It's going to have, do's and don'ts, because there's other people that have done it before you and they've already done those do's and don'ts. So there's safeguards in place. But in the long run, it's it's what you make of it that makes your practice more powerful for yourself. And if, like me, for example, I do work for clients also. So, it's just knowing what's
Well,
going to make you you.
yeah, and you do pick up stuff along the way, and I will even say that, a lot of Latin American magic practices have hints of European stuff from Europe in it, stuff from Africa. It's all that alone is a mix of a bunch of different cultures, stuff, and it continues to evolve as the generations come by. Even as we've our families have immigrated to United States, and I'm sure we're going to pick up more stuff that we're going to pass on to our children and their children and so on. And it's just going to continue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, you're always picking up something along the way, and is just, you know, hoodoo. Hoodoo's a mixture of African with, like, there's Christianity in it, Catholicism. That's a mix in and of itself, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And, a lot of Latin families have a background of Catholicism and evangelical Christianity. I will say some of the evangelical Christianity I have incorporated into my practice. Um, just I know the Psalms have affected, the way I do my incantations, different things you learn in Sunday school. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say it, in a way, yeah, the magic my family did before that was kind of, forgotten. But then again, evangelical Christianity became a part of my family background. And then as a result, became some of that became part of my magical practice as I adapted it. So yes, it did continue to evolve. But I would say my magical practice is mostly a mix of witchcraft, working with the elements, numerology, and Mesopotamian magic. In a nutshell, like I said, I picked up a little bit of everything by reading different stuff and trying things, but mostly, based on the books that I've read, um, the magical experience I have, and the mentors I've had in my life. That's a result of how my magical practice is. So, but how would you uh, describe your magical practice, basically in a nutshell?
Um, it's a goulash is what I'll call it. It's just a mixture of
Yeah.
everything. I mean, working with Santa Muerte, yes, Santa Muerte does have a Catholic aspect to her. Um, I don't use the Catholic aspect because for some reason when I started working with her, that's not what she wanted out of me. And that's one of the things with working with her.
Mhm.
She chooses to work with you in her own way. And she will show you how she wants you to work with her in her own way. And with her, the way I work with her, she brought along that goetic vibe with her. So she kind of opened up that door for me. And
Okay.
I've balanced, I know it's kind of like a dark and a darker kind of a weird
Yeah.
balance. There's not really like this. People would be like, that's
Well,
dark. It's like
hey,
death and demons. I'm like, how do you work that? And
there's a place for everything. Not everyone is meant. Some people are meant for that. It's
yeah, some
fate.
people are meant to work that. I mean, you got what people would call light work or, like,
Yeah.
energy work, but for some people that they don't work that path. It's not meant
Hmm.
for them. For some reason, I work that dark and deathy path, and it
Hmm.
works great for me.
Yeah.
Yes, I do still ground myself. I will cleanse myself. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with doing that because you need to balance yourself out internally as well, and magically, because yes, too much of one thing does
It's
make
especially
you.
being on this plane because they understand that we have to do that because you could say we're in these meat sacks on this in this simulation.
Yeah,
We have to do that stuff. Whereas if we were on the completely on the spiritual plane, it would be different. It would be a different story.
Yeah, we do need to do that. Otherwise, you find yourself your scale is not balanced. You're going to find yourself like this way too much.
Yeah.
Yes, you do have to balance yourself out. And yeah, I'll moon bathe once in a great while and do things to balance myself out, but
Yeah.
and also the mon when you're not working your magic and you've got your everyday mundane will also drain you. So it's
Mhm.
important to balance yourself out with that also. And
Mhm.
once you're balanced all the way around, you're good.
Yeah, I think so. I think that I think with every practitioner needs to be balanced, but balance can be something different depending on the path that you walk,
It
you know.
is. It's different for everybody and it's not going to be the same. What works for me may not work for you, which may not work for, Tom, Dick, and Harry along the way.
Yeah. In fact, might be why some people on one path judge someone else on another path. They look at someone like say who's completely in the darkness and they're balanced in their own way. So, oh, that person, I can do better magic than them. They're not really balanced like I am. You know what I mean? You gotta be careful not to just judge people because like take for instance, I don't judge people who are if someone is let's say successful in life and they're making good money, whatever. Okay, that's great for them. uh, I have the same amount of respect for them as I do someone working a temp job. They may be there for a certain reason. Their spirit guide may have them there for a certain reason to teach them certain things. Maybe that that's and they have wealth in a different way. So I don't judge them at all. So
No, no, then that's not something that none of us should do.
no.
It doesn't matter if it's mundane or magical. It's not, you know, all we're doing is just bringing ourselves down and we're bringing someone else down in the long run. And we can't have that, especially in a magical community. And there's a lot of ego in the magical
Oh,
community as it is.
definitely, definitely. I mean, people will a lot of people will leave Christianity. Like, oh, well, they judge too much, so I'm going to leave that. And now I'm here, and this is a better place to be. Whereas, there's just as many people judging and maybe just as many con artists in the occult as there is in religion. And you just kind of have to discern and know for yourself and where the danger's at.
Yep, you're gonna find that everywhere.
Yeah.
You're gonna find your con artists everywhere.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter if it's Christianity, doesn't matter if it's the occult, Santeria, they're everywhere, and
Yeah,
you have to be careful of scammers and con artists and
hmm
everything.
definitely, definitely. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on with you is so how important would you say doing magic is on certain times and dates? Some practitioners will say it has to be on this in order for it to work or to be very effective. Some say, well, it doesn't matter so much. It's just, when you need to do it, you need to do it. Where do you stand on that?
Planetary and magical hours, they can be important, but I was also taught that the need overrides everything.
Hmm.
So if you are in a situation where you need to do a ritual in order to get you out of out of the situation, but it's not the right phase or the right planetary time, do it. It doesn't matter. Just do it because your need is powering and pushing everything forward, and it's what's going to get you through it. So
Yeah,
you have to be able to trust in yourself. It's great to learn how to take advantage of the influences of planetary hours and planetary days and all of that. But when you are in a pinch and you need to do it, just do it. Just,
exactly.
grab
Exactly.
that
So,
candle, grab it and go. Just do
yeah,
it.
when you need to, hey, just, it should work, should be just as effective. Now, I will say this. This is the analogy that I like to use is that let's say you're rowing a boat in a certain direction. Now, if you do magic on certain dates and times that correspond to where you're going, you may get it's like a current that comes and helps push you and nudge you in that direction. But regardless if that current is there, you're still going to roll yourself in that direction.
Yeah,
You know what
and that's what magic is. When you do a spell or ritual and you are the boat, you're putting yourself into that current. Now, how you get to where you need to go is not always going to be the way you want it. The sea is going to get rough at times
Hmm.
because, especially when working with spirit, spirit's going to challenge you.
Yeah.
Spirit is going to make the waters rocky.
Hmm.
But if you can survive the rocky waters and you can survive their challenge and how
Hmm.
they test you, yeah, you're going to notice all of a sudden the water's calm and shit just starts happening. It,
Exactly.
you got to
Everything
have
will
a
fall
lot
into
of
place.
faith in that.
Yeah, they'll test you, but once you pass the test, things will fall into place.
Yeah,
So,
they do.
but
And some will put you through the ringer.
hmm oh yeah, definitely. And I'm sure we can all, people who've been practicing as long as we have can definitely, vouch for that. Um, I will say this that a well-prepared focus ritual done at an ordinary time is often preferable to a poorly executed ritual done at the perfect astrological moment, you know.
It will be. It will be because you're sitting there, you're okay, so it's I gotta do this ritual on Thursday and it has to be at like 10:45 p.m., which is the hour of Jupiter. So I gotta have all my stuff put together. And then what are you doing? You're mentally already preparing yourself for that day. And by the time you actually sit down and put everything together to do it at that time, you've already dispersed your energy. And not a
Hmm.
lot of people realize that. You're the all that intent, all that focus you had in getting everything together before the date actually came has already been dispersed. You've already done it. You know,
Hmm.
the candle and the hours and all of that at that time is just a focal point. You've already
Yeah,
dispersed your magic.
a lot of people forget that, magic is, energy, really. It's just, and if you don't have that focus, it kind of loses its meaning.
No,
Um, I will
and
also
sometimes
say,
the best ones are also going to be your spontaneous ones. The
yeah.
ones where you're like pissed off at something and you're like, you know
Hmm.
what? I'm going to show them. And you're just, at that moment, you've got that energy, you've got that anger, you've got that, whatever it is. And you are just throwing it in there. And those are the ones that actually work the best.
Yeah, you're just thrown in the current and let's see if you can sink or swim. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. And a lot of times that's a test in itself. Things happen for a reason, you know.
It is.
I will also say that consistency, clarity of intention, and disciplined practice matter at least as much as timing.
It does. It
Hmm.
does. You need to know you can't do a spell or ritual and be wishy-washy.
Hmm.
You can't have, okay, I'm going to focus on this, but then, squirrel over here. And then, it's like all of a sudden you had a good focus and then, you got distracted by something sparkly over here. And
Yeah,
now your intention and your focus kind of straight. And even if you're coming back to it, it's too late. You've
yeah,
already veered off left field. So
hmm yeah. Well, if you're not careful, anyone can be, distracted and thrown off course. It's so easy. You say, "Well, not me. I won't be distracted. It'll happen." But now, I mean, as far as elaborate spells, like how elaborate do they have to be? How much really does that matter? I mean, with me, like I do a lot of folk magic or, just, spells that I just piece together. I don't have like 20 candles, around. I understand that that works for some people, and sometimes that may be necessary, but for the most part, um, it doesn't have to be complicated, you know.
no, it doesn't. The most candles I've ever had going at once have been 9 candles, and that's because at least once or twice a year I do the 9 kings ritual.
Yeah,
I will have the candles for the 9 goetic kings, and it's like a dark path working, but I will have that at least going. But that's the most I've ever had in a ritual, and I don't have that circle and I don't have that little square or anything. It's just
right.
me, them, and that's it. I mean, either you
Well,
can handle that or you can't.
a lot of times what that is just kind of props or mental props to help you, focus and get your intention out there. A lot of times it's not even necessary.
It's
just
not. Honestly, I mean, yes, and it's in a lot of those goetic books too. Well, you need this circle and you need this over here so that they can manifest over here, and and you have your, it's like what is it? Is this like a COVID version of like the Goetta or something? I mean, did
that's
they
so
come out with it before?
that's
I mean,
hilarious. It's a
that
COVID version.
that 6 foot rule. I mean, what the hell? I was like,
Yeah,
no, it's not the
let's
whole
stay this
point.
much feet away here. Okay, so and then I've
Yeah,
never heard
like we're
anybody.
yeah, like we're gonna have this conversation. You and I, we're gonna work this, but we need to have like this 6 foot distance, because you've got something going on, or I don't want you to. No, okay. If I want, okay, I'm sorry, but if I'm gonna work with a demon, you need to be in my
Yeah,
face, okay? I
yeah,
want to feel you breathing down my neck and go, okay. So now that I've got your complete and undivided
yeah.
attention, yeah, no, I'm not doing that COVID shit.
No COVID rituals. Yeah,
No COVID.
that should be a T-shirt. No COVID rituals. Yeah.
Dark Sorcery says no COVID rituals. There you go.
Oh, that is
Darknyss
hilarious.
Herself says no COVID rituals. Yes.
Oh man, that's funny. That is
Uh,
funny. Well, moving on. Let's talk about what I'm gonna be laughing about that all day. Um, what did what's that?
oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, what deities have taught us? You know what I mean? Like deities that we work with have taught us. I know that I've worked with Clonic different times in my life, and he's taught me, to look at wealth in different ways and not necessarily basically, not to have so much of a materialistic mindset. I know that King Belial has, given me some tough love and shown me that um, it's not necessary to be looked at this way. This is the reason why Yahweh had you do this, but this is it's really destructive. Here's how you really look at it. What would you say deities that you've worked with have taught you?
Um. Well, when I was practicing Santeria, Yemaya has taught me to learn to ride the waves, to just learn to whatever comes at you in life, to just ride it out.
Hmm.
Um. Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte has been like she's been actually her and Lucifer have actually been the two most biggest lesson givers in my life. I mean, when I think I'm sure of something, when I think, oh, this is the way it is, Lucifer has a way of going, really? Take a look at this. I mean, he is the light bringer for a reason. I mean,
Yeah,
he will show you and be like, what do you think now? And you're like, oh, well, damn. Yeah, he will. He will do that. And Santa Muerte too. Santa Muerte will she will just go, really? What's that? And you're like, oh fudge.
yeah,
They have a way of bitch slapping your reality into you. And I've
right,
had Basil Bob. He's shown me quite a few things too. I've had Payman. Payman has also shown me things that
yeah,
when I think it's oh yeah, and they're like, nope, it's not. And Clownic, I have worked with Clownic, and yes, he does teach you about wealth, but there's more to wealth than money.
hmm,
You have to look
yeah,
at everything that you have in life as wealth, because when we look at ourselves in reality, if we have a car, we have a house, we have a stable job, we've got a good family, we are wealthy.
yeah,
Yeah, and if we've got the money to pay all the bills, have a little extra to do something, yes, we have
yeah,
wealth.
hmm,
So
exactly,
it's not always about how many greenbacks you got in your bank account. There's more.
exactly, exactly, and I'm sure we both learned that in different ways, but yeah, well, it's been a great chat. It's really good to talk to you. I'm really interested in your book that you've read. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at that. and maybe we could do a video on your book sometime later on. You know
Yeah,
what
we will definitely have to. I'm gonna actually the one that I've got up on Amazon right now, I am gonna take that link down simply because I'm gonna rework and add more to that book
I
and
Okay.
then re up re
Okay.
republish.
Okay.
So
So instead of me putting the link to your book uh in this video, I'll just wait until you add to that, and then we'll
yeah,
do a video on your book when you release it, and then we'll put the link
yeah,
there. People can check it
yeah,
out.
that
Everyone
will work.
who's watching, yeah, just take a note of that.
Yeah.
Uh, I will have a link, everyone who's watching, to Darknyss Herself's, all her other stuff. So make sure you check that in the video description, her other formats and pages and things like that. But yeah, it's thank you for your time. Always good chatting with you.
Yeah, always good chatting with you too.
All right, so everyone who's watching, make sure you like and subscribe to Dark Sorcery.